done.
Moss is done. Moss is done. All right. So we are live. We are doing things.
Oh, people can see us? Hi,
People can see us. And hear
How's
us,
it going?
hopefully.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Most of the time.
Sometimes.
Every other day.
All right. So, what did we do last week? I didn't make another squirrel artwork.
No,
so
we didn't.
I
But
didn't.
but I like what we have.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an every other week thing.
No.
Ah. Too much rules.
So we decided, I can't remember if we decided on or off stream, that we were content with the number of jobs, not so much specializations, but the number of jobs we had. We liked what we had. Might throw a bard type of thing in there, but we liked the groups that we had.
Right.
So we just needed
'Cause
to have.
Sorry, go ahead.
I
Right
was
now
just-
we have warrior, student, bugmaster, which I love, woodsman, and then possibly a bard. I do think it fits the setting, but I think for right now what we have is kind of cool, and it, we already have to flesh all of that out. We can see how we feel later, right?
Yeah.
Or we put a bard in the
Student.
student.
That's what
is
I
what
was thinking.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Went to a different college.
Hello, twice dead mage, gleeful kraken, blaze, Austin.
Everybody.
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 So yeah, we definitely now. I'm pretty excited about this flaw system, and I don't know when you list our next goals / focus is what's the order? Is that are we supposed to go from top down?
No, that's just what we had on the docket. What we were kind of pushing aside to next time. So the predator system, right out the exact wording, I did do that.
I did see that. Let me grab that.
Actually, I've been trying to put stuff in a Word document too.
Oh, I thought I
Yeah.
saw it in here.
Nah, I think I prettified it more in here. Let's see.
I prettified it. That's a
Yeah.
great word. A big old list of inclinations.
I also was working on species stuff. Yeah, I need to share this document with you. So,
Yeah, I thought we were doing it in the note.
well, we were doing it one. That's like where we're just scooting everything off the whiteboard. But then I was like, well, this kind of a lot of that could just go into the document already. So
That's true. That's true.
Um,
I know. I did see your comment on the otters, which I appreciate. Because the swimming boon is fantastic, but it's really limited.
Glee's shutting my door. I'm too
Oh.
noisy. She has a meeting coming up.
We're having too much fun.
No, that's all good. Yeah, every predator or every player has a predator rating that starts with 1d6. This is boosted through job choices and specializations. We already know that. Maybe inclinations will do it. All enemies also have a predator rating. That's right. We decided that we're going to roll predator ratings for both sides, enemies and players, at the beginning of each round, and
Correct.
that determines who goes first.
Which I think is a lot of fun. And I like it's unique to this system, which is cool too.
But that also, if you win the predator roll, you get access to predator abilities, or at least for the bad guys. Undecided if some of our jobs or inclinations are going to be predator abilities that you get access to when you win that roll, other than just going first. So
We did talk about that being a possibility.
we did, and I have it written down here in the red. We also talked about moss monsters, and like if they were a thing, they just automatically win that roll every time. So that's that. So the predator system we can do away with. Well, I mean, we'll keep it, but we can take it off the list. Character bonds and personality lists. What? Ideals? None of that.
Now he's talking 5e.
In the end, did not the Harvester join the club, Sedge? No, the Harvester's still in there. That specialization. We were bouncing between whether he was a specialization or his whole job with specializations under it.
Oh, twice Dad missed that in the beginning. I think because we talked about that pretty early on last week.
We did, but it is there for sure, 100%.
It's still there, buddy. That was a great idea, Twice Dad Mage.
Flaws. Yeah. So, excuse me. Let's dig into the flaws. So we had the idea, and we already got it written down here. So, in order to avoid picking certain boons and then taking advantage of flaws without actually feeling the fact that it's a flaw, I like the idea of just, hey, when you utilize your flaw, it's 2d6 keep lowest. So you're always rolling with an actual bane. Because that makes it feel more like a flaw. When you pass a flaw, you get a hero die, which is pretty strong, but also you're trying to pass on 2d6 keep lowest, so that's pretty difficult. And if you fail, you get a karma. So this is very, very Tricube inspired, or you might even say straight up stolen. But
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
First, is it activated by player or by GM or by both?
It's by player. The player, that's up for discussion. I like the idea of the player saying, I am using my flaw. So, and the flaw is, it's very much just quirks from Tricube. You decide what your flaw is. It's not we can provide a list of examples like the aspects, but just like the aspects, it's make something up. So you say, oh yeah, I got an old wound in my leg, and sometimes it acts up. So when you're in the middle of combat and you're like, this isn't exactly the hardest fight in the world, and I could use an extra hero die or two, I'm gonna say my leg is acting up and roll with whatever. A lot of give and take, we'll say, between the GM and player there, because the GM has to agree to it for one, but then the player also has to say, hey, this bum leg affects whatever, I want it to make this task harder.
And the way you're putting it too, I like it, because if you're in a social combat, so to speak, you could also activate it too. Yeah,
you can have just social quirks too, like, oh, I have a really haughty attitude and people don't like that, so
I'm hot tempered.
That too.
Cool.
So I like that idea. That's it's aspects with a negative.
Because originally I was picturing we were gonna list out a whole bunch of options, and I actually prefer the way we've headed. You've suggested here, where it's we list out a couple of examples and then boom.
Yep, it's very much
make their own.
It's very much just aspects, but negative.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that helps round out a character, especially since, I don't know about you, but I really enjoy the roleplay heavier side of things, and this gives a fun roleplay element for you to play along with. Too.
Yes.
Now, what about? Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I kind of want to make hero dice a little more valuable in the sense that might be the only thing that can help you when fighting the moss monsters. Because I don't know if they're gonna override the predator thing. I kind of like that idea, but at the same time, that might feel a little
cheating.
Abusive. But I like the idea of karma not working on them at all.
Now we could. That's a great idea. Now we could just make it where they're very powerful in that sense,
or maybe
Go ahead.
They could always have access to their predator abilities, whether or not they go first. If we end up going with that rule,
that's a good one. Do you want me to write this down? Well, we have it recorded. We can re-listen.
Well, yeah, but let's write it now. I'll put a little thing over here. So
I also got a lot of inspiration for the moss monsters from the Dunescapes stuff. I should probably share some of my thoughts with that now that we're past that playtest, because I think there's a lot of cool or unique thoughts to pull from for the moss monster. Do you have the full file? You and I should dive into that one of these days on our private meetings. Because it really fleshes out a deeper, more powerful monster than in the original core EZD6, giving it that oil. Hey, Adam from the end of Player on Crossroads.
What?
Hey, buddy. It's good to see you, man.
Where you coming from, dude?
I love it.
Yeah.
But like building the oiler, not that we're taking that, not that we're doing that, but I do like that stream. I really enjoyed that background pressure, and I love the way that you and Hib explained it, and I liked your video about that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But that's kind of the feel we're going for with the moss monsters, right? Well, that's the feel of the monsters from the EZD6 playtest that we ran.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and that's so what I'm saying is we'll be able to pull some pretty cool ideas from there when fleshing out these monsters.
Just popping in while editing. Oh. That's Adam's favorite thing to do is post work. He loves video editing. Absolute favorite thing to do.
I don't. Okay, sure. That's not what I remember our conversations being like, but you know.
Oh.
Can't use karma against them. Always have access to their predator abilities, and still has to roll for turn order.
Yeah.
But I do think they have a pretty strong predator rating.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, there's always that fluke where you might get to go first. So
That's true. That's true.
that's better than just automatic override. So
Yeah, absolutely.
all right.
Cool.
So
I mean, that was really easy. Boom, that's done.
yeah. So flaws are also. Let's make this box a little. Rewards when you pass a flaw roll, you get a hero die. So really, yeah, and you get a karma when you fail. So you're always getting some. Well, you always get a karma when you fail. So you still get something
Yeah, but
regardless.
I like that we're nailing that down because that's a kind of a cool way of. It encourages the role play and the use of it. So like I've played in a lot of games where flaws aren't utilized as much as I wish they were, and some of it is like I can't keep track of every single person's flaw. Not everybody wants to have a negative impact, but those negative impacts can really draw a story. They can create really cool role play moments, and this is a fun way to reward that without it being game breaking.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to do audio checks at the beginning, but I guess if it was bad, somebody would have told us.
I think at this point somebody would have yelled at us.
I almost was thinking like if they passed the flaw roll, if they could choose between a hero die or like 2 karma or something, but I don't know if that'd just be too much to remember.
Yeah. I mean,
Man, I don't think like anybody would ever
Not
not
choose
take
hero
a hero.
I guess that was my thing too.
I don't know, because that's just a reroll. So like, whereas if you're at 3 and needed a 4, it's like, oh, 1 karma point. But it's like, well, if I'm gonna reroll, it's like I could land on 1, 2, or 3 again. So getting
You can
2
use
karma points.
You can use hero die on a 1, yes.
Yes. Yeah, hero die, or you get basically they cover what karma doesn't.
Is hero die keep the highest, or is it just reroll and use the new result?
I don't know. I think it's just reroll, but I could be wrong.
My problem is it's called a hero point in Pathfinder 2nd edition, so my brain is trying not to mix up that, because that's just a reroll and keep the new result.
Yeah. Let's
Hero
see.
die. At the start of a session, each hero gets a hero die. This can be burned anytime on the game to reroll a die, even if you roll the 1. Once used, this die is discarded, so it's just a reroll.
Okay. So yeah, like that's still got some risks to it, but when it's, you know, like miraculous saves or rolling a 1 or magic stuff, like it can be used for all that, whereas karma can't. So it does, despite its variance and its swinginess, like it is still very strong because it can just straight up give you another chance when otherwise you normally couldn't. So
Adam, it's called Excalidraw, and we're able to whiteboard together. I love it.
yeah,
And there's a dark mode, which I'm using. It's so nice on the eyes. It's fantastic.
I like blinding everybody. Speaking of, I do normally make this a little darker. I forget, it resets my background color every time I load it up. So
Oh, not me.
yeah.
I almost sent Adam an invite to this one.
I mean, you hop in there.
Yeah, I know. Adam, I'm gonna send you the link of what it is directly. It's a fantastic group whiteboard. I've been enjoying this. I'm actually, oh, this is a little out of character, but I'm actually debating on using this to run a game to see where you could draw, kind of like the game Glee ran for us. Why she did an amazing job too.
Yeah.
But this could work for that. It'd be a lot of fun. So
I'm trying to get a color here. I used the whiteboard in Discord a long time ago to run a game, and you could actually drop in GIFs and stuff. It was
Discord had a whiteboard?
Yeah, but now, like, I mean, it always took all your information, but now it's like obnoxious about it.
I didn't even know there was a whiteboard for Discord, but that's okay.
That should be a little easier on the eyeballs.
We have Excalidraw. And what's cool is you can save it to your computer, so it's not saved to a... Sorry, I'll stop talking about it.
I would say you can save it up to a cloud somewhere, but it's also local. So
yeah, but you're not stuck using their cloud.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yep. All right. So I guess we are going to use moss monsters. We were kind of 50-50 on that, if it fit the setting. Like if we wanted to be fantastical, realistic with the animals, and then just have natural nature things being the problem, or did we want the more kind of lean a little more into the fantastical with the moss mutation and stuff going on?
I mean, I still think it has a natural feel. I mean, think about the fungus that takes over ant bodies. Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mean, I don't think this is too fantastical. I think it's terrifying, and I wouldn't even say it's really supernatural. This is just, this moss has created, maybe it's mixed with fungus, or maybe that's something you and I could discuss. The story behind it. I think you already have some lore behind it.
I do.
Right. So, you know, I'm a yes for it, and you know, I think it'll be a ton of the added stress too, because it's like I can just see so many different things. Sorry, my brain's picturing the map.
Yeah.
It's picturing the different areas, the safe zones that we've talked about, but then you're in between safe zones. You're trying to set up another one. But then all of a sudden one gets completely wiped out by a creature you don't know, so it generates this investigation, and you're thinking it's a moss monster, but come to find out it's just a group of rats that leaves traces behind. And then you know, there's so many different angles to take that, and that's, to me, is a ton of fun. Like, that is yeah.
All right, so we're in favor of the moss. Also, one sec, I gotta help the cat figure out how to get out. He can't seem to put it together.
Okay, well then I'll keep talking about my crazy ideas. But no, this flaw system is, and I like that it's simple. To me, this fits the EZD6 mentality. Like you said earlier, it's kind of like the aspect field, but it's a negative, and you know, you just have it. And this is about half a page, you know, not even a full page in the book, and which I guess we gotta decide. I know it's not a right now thing, but we gotta decide: are we doing the same size as EZD6 books?
So one of the questions was, how much lore do we want to dump in this? Do we want a whole bunch? Like, I think Dave's Grimwood City was a humongous lore dump. I haven't even looked at it. I need to, because like I've played Ironbound, and he said most, you know, all of the.
It's all the lore is the same.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you just took us like, okay, well, that's a lot. So
I've read both. Yeah, I mean, I have the book right up here. It's not that big, honestly. It's the same structural size as the EZD6 books. Do you own a copy of it?
Of Ironbound?
Yeah. No. Of Grimwood City for EZD6.
I do not. That's what I was just saying. I haven't read it. I haven't seen it. I haven't.
See, I personally think that you have our mechanics in the beginning, where it's like people can just take those, but then you do a lore dump where it's like, where are all of our thoughts that come together with this and how it's utilized, even with the world map that you and I are building, like all of the together is like the next section, and then the last section's your monsters and stuff like that the RR can use on top of whatever there could be. And this is just Jacob thinking. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I like lore.
Your only answer is I like lore. But
I have several ideas for the lore too. So
why are we just? I mean, if we're just making a little rules bonus rules mechanic, what's the point?
Right. Well, that was what I was about to say too. Like, I feel like if we're going to sell the book, then we owe them some lore. So like that's something they can use. So even if they're like, yeah, it's kind of so on the rules for EZD6 or whatever, but I love this setting, so they still get something out of it. Or
Yeah,
vice versa.
correct.
They could be like, I hate the setting, but these classes are super fun. So,
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking. Because sometimes I actually have a lot of books on my shelf that are people made for 5th edition, and I bought them or acquired them because I thought the setting or the lore that came with it was really cool, not so much the mechanics. And I've
that's
used them. So
a little bit of a tangent, but that's something I want to do with Nuts. If people are actually enjoying it when that time comes, I want to make modules for it where they just provide you a new handful of shells to use, maybe a new mechanic here and there and roll modifier, but that part's gonna be really small, and then just a huge setting lore dump. Like, here's characters, places, plots, like,
I think you're onto something with your nuts. I like them. We should probably play with them some more. So cool.
Right. So flaws just need to be tested. There's really not much going on. It's just always 2d6, pick lowest. We need to see how that feels in a game. Moss monsters, we could make some moss monsters if we want to. Actually, we could try hammering out a few enemies here just to see how they work, but I think we might need to just really start hammering out those classes and specializations. I think that's where we're at, and then it's going to be testing time.
Well, inclinations also.
That's right.
Because that's part of building your character. I think
that's right.
Realistically, for you and I, we've both been skirting around the inclinations a little bit because I do think that's a slightly bigger task and that's a little grindier.
But depending on what I wonder if we could do without inclinations, if the specializations, but then it'd be kind of boring though.
Here's my argument. Exactly. That's my argument to it. Is that doesn't allow
that customization.
Yeah, it doesn't allow the custom.
Okay.
Now, so one thing I like about inclinations too is they could be story rewards at some point for level ups, and that's why I like having them.
Okay. So definitely inclinations. So do we want to work on some inclinations, or do we want to start hammering out a couple jobs, fine-tuning them, and working on inclinations on the side?
I want to do it all.
You want to do it all? All right.
I feel like we're really close to finishing up the jobs, the jorbs.
The jorbs.
So why don't we revisit those one more time on stream, and then because I think we've hit them almost probably a little bit out of each session, right?
All right. So I have.
Oh, you wrote down inclinations. Let's do inclinations then.
Well, I was just putting them up there, but we can take. Yeah, let's do some inclinations. I'm sorry. Let's.
No, you're good.
Let's do.
So first question, we talked about doing minor and major inclinations.
We did. It was a thought we had, just sitting on the burner, whether we wanted groups or major and minor.
Can I share some of my thoughts?
Sure.
I'm not necessarily against them because I like this idea of having major and minor, but we already have a lot of choices being made when you pick your gerb and then you go down to the next specialization and you pick that. So it's like, do we just keep it a generic list? And I think I liked your suggestion about it because, so this is me arguing myself a little bit. Let me just process out loud with you guys. Is because some of them are like epic, right? They're you get a boon to all melee fight, right? That's one of them. And that's a pretty major boon. So it's, compared to you can hold your breath for a long time, or what, I don't remember all the inclinations without pulling them off, which I am currently doing. But then, so cat-like can never be knocked prone if hit by a crit and have a 4+ miraculous saving when falling. But still, having the ability to be a fighter and you have a boon in melee weapons, so it's all melee weapons, seems very powerful. So I guess that you and I should probably discuss Because are there inclinations that people will never choose unless they're forced to pick from the minor category?
That was my justification or reasoning for considering groups, because some, and it's not a fault of the system or anything. It's for anything. Like, some options are going to be significantly better than others. So when you lump them all into one pool, it's like, well, everybody's always going to pick this one. So, and a killing class. So, do we want all our like mechanical boon giving inclinations to be job and specialization, and then inclinations are more loosey goosey, like cat-like, or hey, you're good at haggling, things like that? Or, and that's what I say, we can just start listing some and see where they go.
Okay.
So,
I mean, the first two that come right off the bat are ones that I see commonly picked often, and that's going to be your fighter and marksman, right?
yeah. So boon to attack style, which is melee, right? Man, I can type today.
Melee or ranged, yeah.
So yeah, that's a very basic one, and most classes come with it, but not all of them. So
Right. So if I wanted to be a doctor who was really good at sniping people with my bow,
so
if we take out those as inclinations, we can no longer make that.
yeah. So you also got +1 strike if you want to be beefy. Trying to think outside the vanilla ones that already exist.
Right. I do think we're going to pull some of those too.
Well, for sure, but I'm saying they're already made, so.
Yeah, that's true.
What about like a master haggler, since trading is going to be something?
Definitely. I think
So,
that's a great idea.
master haggler. Roll for extra resources or something?
Yeah.
Or something
we also-
in the safe zones.
Yeah, because we also talked about doing a, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Forager or something along those lines.
Yep. Well, he ended up being just for his med kit.
Right, but
We have the vole who could forge. I guess the species might be something we need to start fine tuning too.
Yeah, I know. Well, because I made a comment on your otter one. I don't know if you saw it. I did it this morning. So, because I kind of was mentioning it earlier in today's stream, but I think we'll refresh species after we build a couple characters and start playing around with it. Pack rat. Able to carry more items if we're going to be going into that.
All right. Carry more goods. A swimmer, but I mean, would that take away from the otter? Or?
Well, I already plan on changing the otter. So the otter is going to get a boon to all swim related tasks.
Yeah, let me
And
see what you got there.
I was thinking something along the lines of like a leadership or communication skill, but also otters use rocks as tools. So maybe they could get some kind of otters. So I know we're jumping back to our species, but maybe otters get some kind of boon or ability to utilize rocks as tools or something along those lines. Like they're able to come up with a tool for the situation once per game or a session or something. I don't know. It was just a thought I had, just throwing, because you're right. You brought up, while it's cool, it's pretty lackluster in the sense that it depends on the GM running a scenario with water. Because if otter is fully focused on water and you guys are never going to water, then that's playing an otter is useless, and that that player is going to feel that.
Yeah.
So so just to, in the sense of balance, I was thinking utilizing the other things that are based off of otters, and that would be, they crack open their shells with rocks, so they figure out how to use rocks as tools. So I think that's kind of cool. Or they're really good at communicating and they do a lot of talking within their circles. So some kind of leadership boon or something.
We're gonna have like minions in this. Boon for minions.
Oh.
See, if we were all bigger than mice, you could have the mice minion perk.
Well, maybe the otter has a mice minion. The otter has a pet lamprey that he keeps in a jar. a little fishy. Are we thinking any kind of predator boon? Any kind of
oh yeah, predator rating boosts. That's right. We had already said that could be, or we had considered it. So
yeah,
like just a straight, you gain +1 to predator resistance or something like that.
Ooh, we could do some kind of like slippery or evasive. Because I picture like these little creatures can scamper real quickly. So,
what are your thoughts on like maybe not all, but a lot of the species boons also being inclinations you can get? So basically, you're picking a species that gets one for free, basically. A specified inclination.
Want me to tell you why I like this?
Sure.
Because say I am a mouse, but I was orphaned and raised by a family of otters. They taught me how to utilize swimming, or they taught me how to utilize the stones. So like, I do think I think it's a great idea, for sure.
Okay. So like, because I was thinking of the squirrel with the climbing. So like you could get the squirrel's climbing perk, but maybe not their infinite fall or whatever.
Yes,
so,
I do think that is.
okay.
Yeah.
So
we could keep the name. We could keep it Squirrel Climber.
Yes, some species. Well, also, I don't think I did it in the OneNote, but I'll just read what I have here because I was trying to officialize them more. So the squirrel, the perfect landing, we know how that works, but the expert climbing, I tried to word it to more. It's like you don't just get a boon, like you can actually climb horizontally like this and across the ceiling because you're a squirrel. Like as long as all 4 limbs are attached, you can just. So maybe not everybody gets that, but they could still get like a boon to climbing.
Yeah.
So
I like that. So theirs is slightly more in depth, or they don't have access to it. Yeah, that works. I guess that brings us. So I guess we're gonna be working on multiple things here, which is fine. That brings us to the mouse. We've talked about always able to forward something for the mouse is what we have right now. And we didn't change that. Now, do we change that? Do we? What does that mean? You know, and that do we add a forage option in the inclinations?
Well, if we're using Wasted World, do they just forage for supplies? Like they can do a random roll?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, like you gotta roll on a d6, and if you get a d6 or something, you can get a 1 supplier. I mean, we can definitely flesh this out. But that is something we gave the mouse. Is that... But of course, the mouse says always, and...
Well, I really need to... So, the mouse, I have Forager, the one we talked about, and then some suggestions. Tiny was a suggestion, which lets you get squeezed into places the other species couldn't.
Wait, where are you looking?
This is in the Word document I started making. I know, I need to share it with you. Actually, can I do that from here?
I'm not. I don't know where here is, but I'm.
Well, I'm in Word. There, share. Here we go. Copy link. We'll see if it'll let you open it.
There is one in. There is one in the Wasted World that says Paranoid, a boon to spot hidden enemies or danger. That could be interesting if we were to refresh that a little bit.
So you can see if that worked, but the tiny one lets you squeeze into places most others couldn't, but it also granted you a boon to hiding.
Ooh.
Because you're smart.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So.
Hey, I see the document.
Whoa. Can you
cool.
actually open it? Get in it?
Yeah,
oh, it says
I can see your comments and everything. This guy's been working on a secret side project with our project. No, just kidding. All right, let me put this over here though.
The
Get outta here.
purple is suggestions. Those are like things I'd added post OneNote. It's like wanted you to look at.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So we're going from Excalibur to OneNote to Word. Okay.
Well, OneNote's a temporary drop. It's just like, all right, let's take the whiteboard, kind of hammer a few questions or, just sudden thoughts we had, put them down there. And then I realized it's like, no, we could just go to the Word document after we cleaned it up. So, but I mean, we're still using OneNote. But
Perfect.
I was just trying to get something, because some of the stuff, like the Predator system, we were finalizing. So it's like, okay, it's time to move it to the next thing.
Yeah, for sure. Which now we have the Flaw system and Predator system pretty fleshed out. That's exciting.
Refleshing Paranoid into the setting would just be rodent-minded. Saint Solitude prefers OneNote. I have so many mixed feelings about OneNote. Like, I start getting lost when I start making different pages and tabs and everything. I really wish OneNote, and I wouldn't feel like an idiot if this actually works, and I don't know about it, but when you use headings in OneNote, I really wish there was a tab you could open up that had the headings you had made, like in Word. Like, it's a table of contents kind of thing. But
oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be nice instead of just scrolling a big long thing. They do
have the search option.
They do.
I'm not defending. You have way more experience with. I'm just graduating from Google Drive, so.
I've also spent a lot of time on Word, so.
I'm just partially teasing you.
Yeah, I know. I did used to use OneNote religiously for a couple jobs, but. Meh.
Do we have some kind of boon to sneaking?
Yep. Just sneak.
Because if we start thinking about all the skills of, different systems, going over skills and stuff like that,
there's no defense boons, are there? Because I feel like that would be too strong. As soon as you said boon to defense rolls.
No, you're correct. There is no boon to defense rolls, but there is things like Shield Master, where you roll shield saves with a boon and deflect a strike on a near ally as a free action. But that could be given to the shield specialization.
Oh yeah, I say he's already got some perks, so
but that doesn't mean that somebody couldn't take the inclination Shield Master.
I feel like that's trampling on that specializations.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Something about what about intimidation fits under our Predator system, right?
Yeah.
What about some kind of diplomacy or leadership inclinations? Because I feel like those are fun to have.
We got a Master Haggler. Let's say charisma things. And
those can be broken down a little bit more, right?
Master Haggler. That one's specifically for bartering. Did you want like a leadership one, you said?
I did. I thought a leadership one would be kind of cool.
What's it do, though?
Some kind of like you give somebody else a boon or by encouraging them. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to think about it.
Consume your turn to give the party a boon on all attacks for one.
Yeah, because almost like a bard or something where it's like you're encouraging your teammates. Because I always like those kind of player characters where it's like you're in the leader of the pack. Yeah, exactly. Or leadership perk. That's a good name for it. Thank you, Adam. Oh, did you hear that?
Yep. To be fair, OneNote is all my work computer has, so that's how I create OneNote. I have also been in that boat.
We could do some kind of crafting boon or like
you could
tinkering.
I was thinking of the leadership thing for like giving boons out. You could almost give them the med kit, but instead of strikes, it's boons.
Ooh. Whoa. Oh, sorry. Processing through that. There was a lot of noises I just made. That's Oh man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and that's a way to balance it, because I was thinking like, okay, you can give up your turn and give the whole party a boon for that round. It's like that's a good way to balance it. But it's like, well, we're outside of combat. Now what do you do? So, do you just have a permanent boon on
Ruined
everything?
Yeah, there's got to be a little bit of a limitation.
And
Yeah.
that way, if you have that limit, excuse me, that reserve, that pool you pull from, then it might not even have to take up your attack action. You can just be like, boom, you know, I'm using this item and giving them a boon, and I'm also gonna strike. So,
Bop.
That's sounding more like a bard class and specialization kind of thing, but.
So you know how there's Born Blessed, where you get to start the session with 6 karma instead of 3?
Yeah.
We got to come up with a different name for that one too. But I think that would be, because even Wasted Worlds I think has one like that.
Born of Moss.
Oh,
Moss Blessed.
a Moss Blessed. That sounds terrifying.
But see, the moss in the lore, what I want to do is the moss was a good thing, and then it got corrupted. So
Moss Blessed fits.
So touched by
Sounds-
moss.
Quell the emu evasion. So the leadership, I just found one. I thought so. There is a leadership in both the survivors and I want to say but you share your karma. You can share your karma with any team at Insight.
Yeah.
It's inspiring in the other one. So that's something else we can consider. I'm just pulling thoughts too, just seeing what they have. Now there is one here called Athletic, and that's where you get a boon to running, jumping, and climbing. It's very interesting. Are we breaking that up?
Oh, climbing was in there?
It was.
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's something we have to discuss.
If it's like basic climbing, like we talked about, whereas the squirrel gets the weird.
The weird climbing.
But
you're doing weird
things. Is a rabbit gonna climb a tree with a boon?
Dude, woodchucks can climb. Did you know that?
Not surprised.
It's pretty cool, actually. Yeah. When I found a woodchuck in a tree, I was like, whoa.
The American drop bear.
The American drop bear. Yes, I love it.
Okay, so adventure manager there, tinkering inclination, boon to fixing gear, finding traps. We don't. I mean, I like the idea. I love tinkerers. Are we doing any kind of weapon durability? The only reason I consider it is because I was just working on mouse reader stuff for the next video. So
we talked about it, especially with the one gerb there having. Oh, where was it?
When you're ordering their stone tools and weapons, that if they had weapon breaks, they can just grab a rock.
But there was also the mobile armory that we talked about, can harvest useful parts. And we talked about that when they roll 1, those broke.
Yes, because they were special.
Correct. So I don't know
meant to be temporary and disposable. So I don't know if I want to go with the mouse ritter always scrounging for new weapons.
So let's think about it this way. What are all the things we're tracking right now? We're tracking strikes. Mm-hmm. We're tracking predator rating. We're tracking, not that that's a track. That's really a flat. Roll,
that's right? A mechanic. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we're tracking strikes, karma, hero dice, supplies. So do we want to add another thing that we're tracking? Because whoever's using a med kit has to track that. I guess that's the question. Do we want our gear to
Does
all
Wasted
have
World have some failing weapon mechanics? I feel like it does.
I thought they did, but off the top of my head, it doesn't pop up into my head. I'd have to look here. Oh man!
Adam says a better mousetrap for the trap-based inclination.
I am scrolling right now, trying to see if I can quickly pick up on it.
I know it has some like weapon customization stuff.
Yeah. Supplies, acquiring supplies.
Let's see. Wasted World.
Scrap, standard weapons, assault rifle, bow, crossbow, pipe bomb, modded weapons. But I don't see Weapon quality rating. Here it is.
That's what I was.
It's a quality rating. So it's cobbled weapons, benchmark weapons. Oh man, I love that. Dang it. So Mouse Ritter has weapon durability being what? 3?
Yeah,
1
so
to
in
3?
Mouse Ritter, just about everything you use, it takes 3 nicks and then it's busted. But you roll after every combat to see whether or not you take a nick.
So Jacob, when he runs a game like this, probably would make nat 1s damage the weapon and be like, hey, listen, after this combat, that's going to fall apart and be useless. Do we want to actually put that into the system so it's something we track, or we leave it in the GM's hand? Now, there are, at the end of each of the EZD6 book, they put in optional rules, and maybe we make that an optional rule for people if they want a little bit more grittier option, or do we just put it baked in there?
I like making it an option, but what page was the cobbled weapons?
That is going to be on page 51 of Wasted Worlds.
Oh, I'm way too far.
Weapon quality ratings says at the top.
Yeah, cobbled weapons created from junk. If the highest number roll is 1, the cobbled gun jams for the combat. Yep. And melee weapons or bows break. Okay, so you have to like really fail. And no boons, so.
Well, it says boons make it much harder for the weapons to jam or break, and this reflects the skill of the user, which is, I love it. I do think it's really cool.
Yeah, and if there's something already in Wasted Worlds like this, I would rather just take it since it already exists, and this is the same game, right? Instead of reinventing the wheel. But that said, a jammed gun can be cleared. Benchmark, these have been looted from ancients. Skilled machine owners, so will not jam or break. So those are just normal. Status weapons, high-tech weapons often found. Status weapons impart a boon. Will not jam. Okay, so just the cobbled things is.
Essentially, it's cobbled, yeah.
I don't think I'm tempted just to have regular EZD6 weapons, and then you have a note say, hey, if you want a more survivalistic experience, try using the cobbled weapons mechanic from Wasted Worlds. And then we don't tell them how that works. It's like, you have to go buy it. Like, just go use that mechanic.
Yeah, you want to write that down?
I can. Let's see.
You don't have to. But I do think that should be in the book. I like that. I like this.
Weapon durability.
Except for the weapons that the mobile armory makes. But those are simple.
No weapon durability. Can use Wasted World. Cobbled weapons mechanic. There we go. Make that a different color. Ooh, that's
Austin Walker had a good idea. Inclination light sleeper, so that it can be alert while sleeping. It's kind of a unique one.
Yeah, because we're going traveling is going to be a thing. Like,
well, because I think that fits the Redwall feel. It fits the Mouse Ritter feel. Like getting from place A to B is part of the whole journey and fun.
Be alert. Wow, that's actually a really good one. I could see that being useful. Like, you don't even have to roll on a sneak attack at night when everybody's sleeping. Like, you just pass.
What was that one you had? Moss Blessed?
Moss Blessed.
They start with 2. They start the session with 2 hero die instead of karma.
Oh.
Because karma don't affect the moss monster.
That's right. Moss Blessed. Start with 2 hero dice.
You know what would be really cool with the Moss Blessed one? Do I want to say that on stream? I'll say it on stream. I think the moss monsters have a boon to seek you out. So there's a negative and a positive.
But they have a boon. What now? I guess.
So as a GM, I would, if somebody who's moss blessed, I would probably roleplay it that the moss monsters have they can sense your presence when you're within, near them. Maybe not precisely, but they know that you're in the area.
If there was a class, I don't know, I can't remember if we have one or not. If there's a religious one that's a follower of the moss, they could get like some crazy good inclinations. but moss monsters seek them out. Like they have a chance to just spawn a moss monster.
I mean, every time I brought up a faith-based person, you said no. I'm just kidding.
No, I did.
Yeah. We do have priest under student,
Yep.
so maybe that's something we
Follower
can
of the moss.
moss bait.
You could also have the so see what I'm thinking is like there can be variations of the moss religion, like the people who knew it was actually a good thing once upon a time and still believe that, and then there's going to be your fanatics that are obsessed with the evil moss, you know.
Yeah.
Who your witch doctor kind of people. So you could have have your good priest, bad priest kind of thing.
You can have both sides of that argument.
Yeah. Yeah. And then people who just hate moss in general. So the moss killer. That could be a good specialization. Moss hunter. Yeah.
Because there's got to be some fear, you know. So fear generates that. The killer.
Yeah. All right.
Are we doing any kind of like familiars? We talked about, we have the bug master.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we can squeeze a animal companion inclination in there.
I'm just asking. I'm just throwing thoughts out.
Fine.
Thinking of all the crazy characters my players make.
Hmm.
And can they be made in this? And if they can be made in this, does it fit this? It's a lot of questions. A lot of processing.
When are we gonna start testing it? Do some play tests.
I mean, I don't know if we're quite there yet. We're close. We're close. We gotta finish up the gerbs.
Yeah, I mean more inclinations, but
yeah. Oh well, we need to actually like spell out the inclinations. Right.
Yeah, but also we're taking a lot of vanilla ones too, which I don't know how that works. Are we allowed to do that? Yeah,
I guess we
copy paste.
We could just ask Scotty. I mean, if we rename them and use the same mechanic, is that okay? It makes me want to grab Grimwood Cities because.
Well, I feel like, yeah, because that's. I mean, you can't not put in a boon to melee and ranged, right? So.
Well, if I remember correctly, I'd have to go look. He has on his. I think it's on the website. The license is pretty open.
Yeah, and Sage, he's making the sci-fi one.
Yeah,
he's got some, and he said that, a lot of them are just copy paste, but he gave them different names to fit the setting. So
yeah, it's open license.
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. So we can use whatever we want.
Just copy paste the whole book.
No, that's disrespectful.
It is. Okay, so I made a section for charisma things and only put 2 in there.
Well, the share karma, I wanted in there.
Is that a charisma thing?
Absolutely, yes.
That sounds
like I'm the general. I'm like, get off your butt and do something. And I'm giving him a karma.
Okay. Mossless heathen. For those particularly good at harming the moss, they aren't able to benefit from moss-based abilities. Ooh. Mossless heathen. I like that. Good. Let's scroll. Make me another text box out there.
Okay.
What'd you put on there?
Nothing.
He's
got a.
Hmm?
No, it's really cool because he's got an entire community pack that goes to a Dropbox with logo, all his logo. I didn't know that, so I was just.
Yeah. All right, so make me a text box, and we're gonna make a list of what not to copy over.
Okay.
So, of the inclinations, I'm gonna go through the vanilla ones. So, alchemist.
Okay, so you're gonna read to me, and I'm gonna write.
Yeah. Actually, I guess I should. Where you text box, what not to copy over.
Don't worry, my spelling will be great.
You made such a huge box.
I don't know how to fix it.
There we go.
Did you fix it?
I fixed it.
It's not fixed on my screen.
Select out of it.
Okay.
I think it messes up if I work on it while you're actually have it active. So.
Thank you. All right, there we go.
So alchemist, you know potion making and have a boon. Is that something we want, or do we want to not copy that one over?
I was thinking about reflavoring it as being some kind of chef, and
I like that.
If you have the appropriate food, you kind of treat it like a potion. Kind of have that red wall, very food based. We just haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah, so I put that over to alchemist to become chef based. So I like that. That's good because he comes with 2 potions, so they can come with 2 sandwiches.
Two sandwiches.
I like that.
But to me, that fits the red wall feel.
It does. Attuned, you can blind fight and escape areas, obscured vision. I mean, probably keep that one, and the mole could get it for free.
Ooh.
Do we have a mole?
Okay. We do have a mole.
He had burrow, and then there's blind sense with nothing under it. Okay, hatred of the unholy. Your loathing and disgust for undead and demons empowers your melee attacks. If you roll 6 while attacking undead or demons, you automatically inflict a second strike. So that could be a moss hunter.
Hatred of the moss. That could be the moss hunter.
Actually, what?
Are you editing my text box again?
I'm going to, yeah.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Vanilla inclinations. So I spelled it wrong. What was it? Hatred of the undead becomes hatred of the moss.
All right, and to be clear, and I think we should probably write Scotty and just double check, or at least send him what we're doing when we're at a point.
Yes.
For anyone planning to build content sheets, one-shot settings, hero path tables, adventures, and the like, please include one of these badges on any material you put it in. That's the one I attached. His 3 different ones, so we can look at which one we like better later. Please respect Scotty's copyright and do not copy and paste any of his work verbatim into derivative work without his permission. Does double for art. And when in doubt, just email him and get permission.
Yeah. I figured once we have a pretty solid Word document, I'd shoot it his way and be like, hey.
Jacob is just communicating with you what I researched so that we're all on the same page. That's it. All right.
So if we come across one to remove, you just write the name of the inclination and say remove. So
no cool little arrows. Okay.
Yeah. Or you just do parentheses remove.
Okay.
I know how you feel about parentheses.
It's gotten me enough trouble today. Okay. She won't talk to me anymore.
Born blessed. We already have that. Or well, that's 6 karma. I mean, we're gonna use it. We know that. Yeah. So cat like can only be knocked prone. So we'll probably keep that one. Be some other name, but it's the same. Checkmate. You can intercept foes before they reach a target near to you, and they cannot move away the next round without being punished. If they try to retreat or move, you get a free attack. Okay, that might even go in a job. That'd be your brawler, like the berserker or barbarian guy we had.
Yeah.
The surgeon, the chirurgeon thing, that's remove that because that is a job specialization.
Okay.
Craftsperson. If building a hero with a vocation, see aspects. What are we doing on that one?
Well, that's
the harvester.
Well, as I say, we have it essentially in a, right?
Yeah. So I guess get rid of that one.
Yeah.
All right. Dandy. Your demeanor encourages diplomatic or amiable solutions. Boon to all social checks.
Well, there's your charisma things.
I'll say just make that a job specialization one, and then we have separate inclinations. Like we have the haggler. It's like you're good at social.
Bye, Adam. I
Oh.
could strike stuff out. You're right.
See you, Adam. I was wondering why I was waving. There is not a strike through option.
Well, you can do obnoxiously this.
Let's not do that.
Okay.
So yeah. So what do you think about the
Dandy.
well, giving that to a job or specialization and then having separate inclinations for different things? So like we have the master haggler, or you could have an intimidator.
Perfect. My question is where are we putting this? In student? One of the students?
I would just for now put dandy, add to a specialization.
Okay. It's going to be the bard class.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just say add to bard / specialization. And then a note under that about making separate inclinations for separate social things. Excuse me. Alright, danger sense. You cannot be surprised and have a boon in avoiding traps. I feel like we already did that. We did the light sleeper. We'll leave danger sense. That fits the thing very well. So
Rename or keep? Just keep it.
just leave it as is, yeah. I mean, if we need to rename them, we can. It's just the important parts. We're just leaving it. Devout, you are a pious follower and can call on your deity for miracles, but the gods are notoriously fickle. Do we want maybe remove that one? Or what if you could call upon the moss to do something, but on a 1 you call a moss monster?
Oh, that sounds terrifying. I mean, I guess that depends on how we break down our priest, right?
Yeah. That would probably be a specialization thing too, not a...
Yeah.
Because I like the idea of it being really strong, but also really dangerous.
Let's put that down as a special. Depends on specialization for now.
Yeah.
Faithful.
Well, put under devout too. Like, I like that just to write it down. On a 1 summons a moss monster. All right, faithful. Demons and undead can only hit you on a 5+. Unless
Get rid of it.
Yeah. I'm really liking the idea of a moss hunter build that would get these things. So yeah, remove faithful. Familiar, you have a small imp-like servant. We're getting rid of that. Yeah. We have fate touched fighter. You have a boon in melee weapons. Can't double dip. Yep. We already have that. Hedge wizard. You have no sorcery, but can use scrolls. Do we have any scroll adjacent items in our game?
I did not have any scroll adjacent items. I was gonna go down the food route again, or drinks or tools. Yeah,
like shoddy tools, because that way they break on a use. And going back to the tinkerer that was brought up in chat, they might, if they roll a 6 when reading a scroll or using a tool, they save it for another use. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's unique and fits our system.
Yep.
So you start with 2 random tools. Tool wizard. I'm just throwing words out there right now. Tool wizard. Start with 2 random tools.
Well, it's... Hang on. You do start with 2 scrolls with this, but the bigger thing is it lets you use scrolls. So this will probably be... No, we could have a job that could just get this for free, but I like everybody else getting access to it too. To learn how to use tools, so. Learn how to use tools.
Roll a 6, keep the tool.
Yeah, rolling a 6 on tool use saves it for another use.
So they're a one-time thing.
Yeah, like scrolls. They're just replacing scrolls.
Okay. Why does it do that? I don't want to tab there. Don't do this to me.
All right, that could be cool. That could be cool. Inspiring, you share karma. We got that one. Iron Will, you have a boon under mental attack or feared. Is that just predator resistance?
I think it's just predator resistance.
All right, so let's get rid of that one.
Okay.
Lock picking, we'll keep that one. Marksman, we already have that. Nimbus of Light. As a free action, you can summon a floating orb of light that follows you for the day. So, probably not that one.
Now, we could change it to Torchmaster. So
you're able to
maybe
scrounge up a torch.
Right. I mean, it's the only thing I can think of that would be close to that. Do you want me to?
Maybe like you have a lantern that you can turn off and on at will.
Ooh. Well, is there any limitation on the lantern?
Nah.
Okay.
Because I was thinking like, oh yeah, you can always relight a torch after you snuff it out. I was like, oh, just make it a lantern. Because, when you have your torch, the downside is like, oh, now people can see us. It'd be nice. I feel like it'd be worth more your inclination point if it was something you could constantly turn off and on.
Yeah.
Yep. Slippery, you can roll to escape any bad situation. Can't escape a hit, but you can escape grapples. Just happens. So yeah, just pretty much leave that. Sneaky, that's fine. We already have that. Yeah. Sticky fingers, you can steal small objects from targets and remain unnoticed unless you roll a 1. So keep that one. Mouse might get that one for free.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, he might be the sneakster. Sweep or swift attack. You can melee attack all enemies next to you as your action. Roll for each target. Should that be, again, like the brawler barbarian kind of thing? Or
we should probably fit that into one of our fighter classes. One of our warriors.
Or should it be... I like the idea of some of these combat ones being free-floating. So like if you built a dragoon, you could be a little more offensive if you wanted to dump the points into it.
That's arguably a good point.
Whereas the more unique things like the jump, that's specifically for Dragoon. The Shield Master, that's specifically for the shield specialization. So let's leave sweep or swift attack where it is. So just keep. Thaumaturgy, minor magic tricks. Probably get rid of that one.
Yes.
Tough Bastard's a good one. That's a strong one.
We should name it like thick skinned or something though.
Yeah. So keep that one. I could see some of the warrior classes maybe getting that for free, or at least the barbarian one. Trap Finder, you have a boon on spotting and disabling traps. Probably keep that one.
The thing about the barbarian is we made it so that the armor was a 5+. So
Did we?
yeah.
The barbarian?
Yep.
We might have. Let's see.
Well, because when they rage, they're easier to hit because they're just like up in the thick of things.
5+ armor. Yep. And an extra strike. That might be too much.
The extra strike.
Well, both of them. 5+ armor and an extra strike.
I don't think 5+ armor sounds about right for the barbarian.
What is this cat in my yard?
You have a free kitty?
I think it's a cat I've hauled off to the pound before.
Is he a mean kitty?
No, it's just I get it's a cat problem, man. I'm tired of all these cats coming in the yard, eating my squirrels and birds and everything.
I mean, you're going to invite the prey, the predator will come.
People need to take care of their cats and keep them in their home.
You're telling me. Listen, do you know how many cats that we try to take care of that people just drop? We live on a farm, man. We get all kinds of kitties.
Yep. I kind of like the idea of the barbarian. 1 strike, an extra strike, the normal 4+ armor, and then maybe the tough bastard instead for free. I'm gonna make a note here. Replacing.
Oh, you're putting it in the document? Where
Yeah,
are you putting it?
the Word doc. So.
Oh, wait, OneNote or Word document?
Word doc. I got it. Don't worry.
Treasure sense. You have a nose for finding hidden treasures and will always sense if nearby.
That's a good one.
Like, yeah.
Maybe the mole gets it for free.
But so that's definitely some things that we'll have to consider because we'll be getting rid of a lot of these and putting them in different places. I have a feeling.
Yeah, but I also
Which
like
is
some of
okay.
them being in both. Like we had talked about with the species, just getting some inclinations for free
Absolutely.
with some weird twists or something.
And right from the beginning, that's just kind of what we talked about.
Yeah. Victory and failure, probably keep that. So we kept a lot of those.
We did keep a lot. I didn't write down every single one, just so you know.
Oh,
Well, because some of them, like marksman and fighter, I didn't write down.
yeah, well, the ones we already had on the
Yeah.
other text block.
Just letting you know.
Okay.
Just communicating. Do
Not
you
bad.
want to look at some of the Wasted World ones, or
Maybe
some of them are the same, but they're
let me
you,
chat over here. Austin was dumping a bunch of stuff. So sprinting, increased movement speed, less prone to being panicked. We covered those. Fast learner, gain 25% more experience. That doesn't apply for us. Iron gut, resistance to poisons. That's not bad.
but it's got to be more than just poisons. It's got to be like they can eat garbage.
Venom, if we're going to be fighting poisonous reptiles,
Yeah.
that could be.
I'm stuck on the word iron gut, where
Yeah.
you're ingesting
I'm
it.
just thinking about what it does. A resistance to snake venom or something could be pretty good.
That could be good. Yeah.
I'll put that.
That
in.
would be like some kind of like what did he iron gut? It'd be like iron heart, something that like does with your blood or your fortitude,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, it doesn't matter. The gut, it doesn't need to be the same name. Austin Walker, we're not doing experience, so gain 25% experience doesn't work. But thank you. It's kind of a cool.
Yeah, well, he said he's just ripping these from Project Zomboid. Slick fur, no affected by weather
Oh.
conditions.
Where did he say that? Oh, I missed it. Okay.
Eagle-eyed, greater sight distance. Off again. This time for longer. All right, he is gone. Now we can talk bad
appreciate
about
it.
him.
No. Hey, he was pretty constructive today. I appreciated it.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, so we got a pretty big list of inclinations here, on top of a few that we're adding our own, and then we're changing some of them around a little bit here.
Almost feel like I need a spreadsheet.
Yeah, right. He's feeling like a spreadsheet.
I like my spreadsheets. Uh-oh.
Oh, they already have a pack rat in the Wasted Worlds one. Cool. Just taking a peek through these. Oh, that's where I saw the Shield Master. Roll shield saves with a boon and deflect a strike on a nearby ally.
See, Wasted World had a ton of inclinations.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 pages. Cool, because they also have the physical mutation ones.
Well, they had pools of inclinations in this one. So.
Yeah, the survival talent.
Yeah,
Survival,
physical mutations, mental mutations, DNA modifications, biosynth packages. Yeah, it was a lot.
It's pretty cool though.
Like hidden compartment, a secret flap to hide one small item.
The squirrel's cheeks.
There you go.
Got a little hidden pocket in their cheeks.
The chipmunks are the one with the big cheek pouches and hamster. Squirrels don't really do that.
You're right. You would know, Scrat. You would know. The squirrel lover.
I actually don't know much about squirrels.
Can I tell you something?
What?
They taste good.
Wow. I don't think they're worth the trouble. I've had some, but
they're not worth the trouble. I slow cooked 2 of them for my family to try early on in my marriage, and it was just like we all had a little snack.
Yeah, there's not a lot of meat there.
It's not worth the trouble. They're more fun to just watch run around.
Yeah. Jacob being racist against rodents. How dare.
Well, Blaze, that's only the start.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
You should see me with woodchucks. Woodchucks are not allowed on the farm, but that's partially because if a horse steps in their hole and breaks their leg, then yeah. I'm down a hole. I'm down a horse, not a woodchuck. So
yeah, that's a bit rough.
Exactly.
Just another reason not to like horses, but that's just me.
I mean, Michelle's she's tried to sell them for me,
but she loves horses, doesn't she?
She loved horses before we had children. She prefers her children over the horses now, because she's a good mom and she loves her family.
Very good. Also working on my system on the side. That is why I'm so quiet in the chat. Well,
Blaze, we're happy you're here and listening, bud.
Yeah. Making World Shapers even bigger than it already is.
It's huge. So let's circle back around to the top and talk about minor major. Are we ixnaying that?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, especially if all we had were vanilla inclinations, we definitely don't need it. But like if we start adding a bunch, then maybe, just to kind of, depending on how wild they get. But
I mean, we're really letting our job and specializations really have a lot. So I do think that we don't need a ton of inclinations.
I'm in favor of having less inclinations,
but more fleshed out jobs and specializations.
Well, and the inclinations being more impactful. Like instead of just a bunch of frivolous ones, it's like, oh man, it's like I can only choose 3, but man, they're all good. I prefer that, but I was also going to say we can add an extra step or something to make this system a little more unique, and that's the predator abilities. Like pick 1 or 2 predator abilities.
Ooh, okay.
And maybe each specialization gets one, and then you can pick an extra one.
Okay. Okay.
And if we had a predator based class, then they could be like, their perk could be like pick 2 more or something.
I'm loving this. So hear me out. Less inclinations. So let's talk about building character real quick, right? We have, let me go to our game stuff, mechanics, I think it is. First thing, you choose your species, which provides that unique bonus and ability. Then you choose your job, and then under the job, you choose your specialization. And then we talked about doing 3 inclinations, but I think that was when we were talking about having a ton of inclinations. Well, I do think we should go ahead.
Remember, if you pick a job and no specialization, you get an extra X amount of inclinations.
I forgot that you can do a no specialization. Because we did not write that in the section I'm reading. We got to update that. So is it base 2, but if you don't choose a specialization, you get 3? Because
I was
of
thinking
the predator.
3.
Yeah, but that's
3 and
lot.
5 is what I was thinking. Because vanilla, you get 3 inclinations, unless you're
No, you
not
get
a
2
human.
unless you're a human.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But-
2 unless you're a human.
All right. So 2 or 3, and
So
then
the reason I'm leaning towards 2 is because now we have this really cool predator. What do you call them? Maneuvers? Predator
I've just been calling them predator abilities.
ability. Abilities works because they can be like, I've learned to growl like a dog. So hear me out, because then that leaves inclinations to be able to give later on. Because if everybody's choosing 3, that's a lot of inclinations.
It
But
is. So
2
2 might be good, and then maybe 4 if you don't pick a job or a specialization.
You know what?
2
I
and
like
4?
that.
2 and
2
4?
and 4. And then add in then the predator abilities, which is, I'm actually really excited about that.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like I don't want to
Whatever.
limit them too much, because I do want them to, like, oh, the lantern. That's kind of nice. That's kind of handy. But if I only get to pick 2, I'd much rather fast attacks, because now I can just deal damage to everybody. And danger sense to keep myself out of trouble. It's like screw the convenience of light. So
But see, I like giving inclinations as a reward.
that too.
But-
That's also nice.
But
And we may, as we start transferring some of these to jobs, we might eliminate some of that. Like we might decide Swift Strikes is just that's just
A
the
job
base
thing.
job ability you get.
for warrior.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's keep that in mind, so we have a little bit of a range to work with. It's at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, people are going to play their characters. So,
You're missing the GoldenEye pause menu music.
oh no,
Do, 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 do,
that's not
do,
fair.
do, do.
You know what's funny is you sent me the link. I should open it because now I want to hear music.
Here, I'll start that one back at the beginning.
All right, I'll go right to that one so we can jam together. So like a group jam session. With all
Group
of our
jams,
viewers.
you ready?
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3, bonk.
That's awesome.
Have you seen that short? It's I don't know if it's a YouTuber or TikTok or what. It's this guy. He walks into a makeshift office. He's like, "Hey man, we're just. Did you get that track done? We need a track for just some pause menu music. Nothing serious. It's just a video game tie-in to a movie. Blah blah blah. Don't get too serious with it." And the guy's like, "Have you heard?" Or he's like, "What about this?" And he pushes the play button, and they're both just looking at each other, and they start just getting more and more into it.
For real?
Yeah, it's funny. I'll have to find it.
You have to send it to me because that sounds hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Man, I haven't heard this in so long. It's like,
bringing back some memories.
oh man, it just bring it back. You ever turn on the paintball mode? Oh,
Oh yeah.
oh.
Oh gosh.
Man, those were good days. Why though? Why were they?
Well, no
That's
microtransactions. The game just worked. You didn't have to download anything, and your buddy was right there with you eating cheese puffs.
Oh man, pretzels, Cheez-Its, root beer. Oh, my buddy had always. Sorry. Now, you ever play Perfect Dark also on the N64?
I wore those bots out.
Yeah, dude, hours of my buddy and I killing those bots. Hours. I can't even
Yes.
believe how many hours we put into that.
That was fun because you could customize a bunch of stuff, like what guns actually spawned in and everything. And
Yeah, well, you could customize the bots. I mean, GoldenEye was good too. I liked both of them, but I preferred the bots of Perfect Dark.
yes,
Okay, now that we're done going wild on that one,
all
it's
right.
amazing how a song can bring back memories. That
Oh
is-
yeah. Well, and
so
this
good.
is continuing the tangent. Like, this is something I've brought up a few times to various people. It's like, I know there's some nostalgia factor in there, but like modern video games, and I say modern, it's been like this for the past 15 years or so. The music is not the same.
No.
But like, just you saw what happened with just that pause menu music.
Yeah.
And yet when you go farther back, when they had more and more constraints, they had to try so hard to make a tune worth something. So like some of the Final Fantasy music is just Kefka's theme from Final Fantasy VI is just phenomenal.
It's bomb.
And you get those memories and all that emotion. You don't get that now because you can have a full-fledged orchestra in your video game, and it's just meh. I mean, every now and then you get a banger like the Skyrim theme and Morrowind and all that, but like,
well, yeah, but those were done by what's his name? All I know is we actually used some of the Oblivion music in our wedding. I don't know if I ever told you that. Yeah, because remember we were talking about. I didn't want to like one up you when you were like, I have this many hours in Oblivion. I was like, well, I used Oblivion music in my wedding, and I was like, I didn't say it then because I didn't want to sound like I was one upping you, because I also, but in an agreeing statement, I loved in Morrowind and Oblivion a lot. So
yeah, very good. Well, my buddy, he wanted the Morrowind theme song at his funeral, and he died when we were like 25, 26, but some things happened.
Dude.
Yeah, some things happened, and that did not become the case. So his dad got mad. There was three of us, and that's who I model the little goofy dudes off of in my videos, like Billy the Wizard and Bob the Paladin and all them. That's me and the two buddies I grew up with. But the other kid's name was Ben. We both had the same name. He got cancer like right after college and struggled with that for several years, and then finally died. And then his dad kind of got mad at us, because me and my other buddy, because he thought we weren't hanging around and we were just left him, and it was like, no, that's what he asked. We did what he asked, but he didn't want to accept that. So we were kind of not exempt from the funeral, but we weren't very involved. So
bro,
a little unfortunate.
You're hitting me in the feels right now.
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
I just want to let you know, feeling a little emotional about this one.
Sorry. Let's get back on the predator abilities.
It's good. But it's a little backstory of Scrat's life.
A little Scrat lore, man.
That's why you're so loving.
Whoa. I grew up with those two goobers, man.
Oh man, I understand. I mean, we'll have to talk personal friendships and stuff like that, and how painful it is to lose a buddy.
Yeah, and then the other one got married, and I lost him that way. So
Yeah, women. Love you, Michelle. All right, predator abilities. So let's talk about these. What are you thinking? Are you thinking along the lines of like the growl, the stance, the fierce gaze? Like when you think of a predator, the howl. Or what are you thinking?
So just abilities you can use in combat that are pretty strong. We can't be too strong now, considering how they can get used, but something to give you an edge. So, if you land a finishing blow, you consume the guy and restore one strike. But it's only if you land the last blow. That might be too strong if you're fighting a bunch of different guys, but
yeah, but you can't go higher than 3 strikes, can you?
No, unless you have more. I mean, like if you had the inclinations or the barbarian or something.
Interesting.
But that's the idea. Just some wild perk, or like, hey, you have.
Well,
maybe you can do 2 attacks or something. Just something to really give you the edge, or because when I had this idea initially, I was thinking more of the bad guys. So you have their basic attacks, but if they win the predator thing, then the snake can coil up around you and squeeze you and trap you and stuff like that.
Or the venomous bite.
Mm-hmm.
But we can reflavor that for the players too, because their predator abilities are like, well, I now use poison on my weapons, right?
And if we just let them pick one predator ability, then they can be pretty wild. So
what are those predator abilities then? Well, you want to write down the description of them first?
Yeah, let's just try predator abilities. When landing the finishing blow, finishing blow, restore 1 strike. You eat them.
You eat them.
Just take a bite.
It doesn't have. Yeah, just take a bite out of them.
Yeah.
Well, especially for food based too. That's actually kind of fun.
Finishing blow with a melee attack. That way you can't sit back with your bow. And the idea is you're actually consuming them, taking a
Good
chunk
call
out
on
of them.
the, I think that's an important limitation.
Yep. 2 attacks. Because remember, this is just 1 turn. So
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like either 2 attacks, or the poison that adds a +1 to your strike. That could be. Now these could just be. We could write down what the mechanical benefit is, and then have like a little description of what it could be. But
yeah.
I'm also okay with people reflavoring the predator abilities, like
Yeah, for sure.
because. What do you listen? Which one are you on now?
I just let it keep going. Did you stop it?
No, I skipped up to the Koopa Troopa Beach because I like that one.
Oh. I'm on. What am I on? Why does it tell me? Yoshi on the beach. Yoshi story.
All right, I'm there now. Oh, that's a good one too. Oh yeah, that's a good one. All right. Landing the finishing blow, restore 1 strike. I like the double strike kind of thing. Like you kick in your muscles.
Twice. Yep. Something defensive.
I was thinking that also. Like, you can shrug off a strike maybe. But the idea is like almost like the honey badger, or the. I mean, some animals are really resilient. I've seen some take a. I mean.
You could have. How about this?
Temp strike, yeah.
But you only get it once. You can't every turn get another.
No, it'd be pretty much once per scene or once per combat.
Yeah, can only use once per fight. There we
go. 1 temp strike, or because we don't use HP.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. That's Jacob being a stickler. I hate the word HP. I don't like HP.
Oh no.
Wounds, strikes,
Hits.
HP, hits, but I mean hit points is, or health points, whatever you want to call them, I guess. What about some kind of like hardy, well, no, because a boon wouldn't make sense in this instance, right? Because I was like, you could take a boon to poisons or contamination or something like that.
Taunt. Like
Ooh,
you force.
taunt is a good one.
Taunt. Force an enemy to focus on you.
Yeah. Because
Or
that could fit the growl.
Yeah.
What about something like the opposite of taunt, in the sense of like intimidate or scare away?
And make them roll with 1 bane or something.
Yeah, some kind of like.
Intimidate.
Like one's a growl, one's a howl.
That's not how you spell that.
It's-
Intimidate. Forces 1 enemy or all?
See, because these are only once per fight, I think it should be all.
Forces enemies to roll.
Man, I
With
love
1 bane on melee attacks.
the badger
Yes.
on just melee attacks.
Yeah, well, because if they're far back, they're like, okay.
Okay,
Yep.
fair enough.
And I figure.
How about within? Well, it's okay. What are the ranges on?
Oh,
in
yeah.
EZD6?
Forces enemies to roll with 1 bane.
Within short
When-
range, I forgot the range was.
Yeah, forces enemies to roll with 1 bane when attacking within close or near distance. I got it.
Yeah. Because that way, if there is an archer near you, it's not like they.
Yeah, when attacking you, and only you. They're only gonna be scared of you, not everybody. So
Yeah, but I like that idea of like the badger runs into the middle and just like lets out a huge
barbarian badger.
Yeah, with a 2-handed sword, the cape billowing behind him.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh yeah, scars all over his body. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right.
I want to play this now.
Yeah.
I want to run it. All right, other predator. Where's our Austin Walker? He was dropping like it was hot.
He had to go.
I know. Thinking of other predators. Because I think of like pack tactics of a lion. If there's, I don't know if there's a way to do that though.
Well,
What about some kind of? Oh, go ahead.
I was thinking more defensive stuff, like a boon to defense, one defense roll or something. Or
Ooh, and that's unique because that doesn't usually happen, right?
yeah, you don't get that anywhere else, so you have to win the predator roll.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
now remember, are we doing? Because if you have one player in the party that has the high predator resistance, then you have a significantly higher chance for all players to go first. So this could get a little out of hand. Whereas
Yeah,
if,
but they
if
can
you
only
were
use this stuff once per fight.
right, but if you're some of them is once per fight, like the temp HP strike. But
Yeah.
if we did, oh, you get a boon on your defense rolls as long as you win the predator rating. So if you have that Priest or Moss Hunter or whatever with the insanely high predator rating, that character would always have that because they roll for the whole party.
Yeah, but it's still a dice mechanic.
True. I'm just saying.
Because like our predators should be rolling 3 to 4d6.
When they encounter big ones, yeah, they should have a lot.
Like I mean, it's still a dice game.
Oh, yeah.
They just have a higher chance.
All right, so boon to defense rolls. It's pretty strong, but
Well,
Or-
remember this. We'll play test it. We'll play test it.
I'll put this: boon to defense rolls or +1 rating, something like that. That might be easier.
Yeah. Might be easier for tracking. I know, but then the player should be able to track a boon to their defense roll. And if
They
don't, that's
can.
their-
That'll be the same on the. I'm just saying, math-wise here, that might be a little more balanced. All right. So, finishing blow, attack twice, temp HP, taunt, intimidate, boon to defense. What's some more? I bet an agile thing. Move to one location for free or something.
Sure.
But like the dragoon and the hare already
The
have
rabbit
that.
have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Because there's always things like swirling attack, where you can melee attack 1d6 enemies next to you.
that's the fast one. Faster
Yeah.
sweep attack.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I was thinking something speedy. You can double your movement for free.
Double your movement for free. Okay.
We'll just say double your movement.
What about some kind of enhanced senses? Because that may be kind of fun if you're fighting some kind of like a sneaky snack that like is going through the underbrush and striking you from the underbrush, but you win your predator rating, so you just like your nose drive kicks in, or sight or something along. I don't know, just something to think about. A unique one,
What would it give you?
a boon to seeking out a hidden enemy.
In the middle of combat, though? Because remember, you get
Yes.
these after combat has started.
Yeah, you don't have hidden enemies in your combat.
I've never done that. I am not a fan when enemies just randomly crop up in a combat, that they're invisible on the map.
But why can't an enemy take the hide action, or like you saw them and then they dipped into the bushes?
That makes more sense.
Sorry, that's how I do that a lot, because that
Yeah.
creates that tension of like, where the heck did that rogue go?
Yeah.
I love that. Like, you saw them, and on their turn they freaking disappear and rolled well to hide or whatever. I don't know if that fits the system, but I think it does. Like, why not? Sneaky creatures.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, but I'm thinking mechanically now, because you get this when you win the roll
Correct.
for a round. So you guys go, and now it's the enemy's turn, and then the enemy rogue rolls, says, I'm gonna go hide, and then you roll again. You're in the next round now. If that guy's still hitting, does that perk carry over, or do you have to roll again to sniff him out? I guess you would, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that's part of the role. I mean, that's the
Yep,
whole
yep.
role mechanic. Like,
Yeah, I get it.
that's
now.
the randomness of
I
it.
had
Yeah, I
to-
appreciate you walking through it though, because I mean, Michelle, sneaky creatures. Because that's kind of fun. Because that also works for a burrowing enemy too, in a way.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you
it's
can
actually
sense-
the more I work through it, the better this is sounding. So.
But I appreciate your input because it
Mhm.
also, something to consider. What about some kind of counterattack?
That would be a really strong. Well, depending on how many times you could trigger.
Correct. That's the.
Okay, let's try the. And trigger
Once
one.
again, these are just throwing thoughts out, man.
Yeah. We got Rainbow Road going now.
Yeah, it's it's jamming. Like I'm ready to start dancing.
It's a good one. This was a fun one to play on the guitar too.
So where I pulled the counter, you play the guitar?
Once upon a time. Actually, can you not see the
Oh,
head of the
I
guitar
forgot about
poking
that.
up over
I
the
forgot,
chair?
I
Yeah.
forgot about it.
You can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
the amp more than anything.
Yeah. I don't study your room, man. I don't want to judge you.
There's a piano back there you can't see either. I got
Oh,
I
pianos
got
are awesome.
okay at the guitar.
Well, you're gonna have to play for the stream.
No, because I haven't done it in years. That guitar is like 15 years old. Ooh, it's an old one. Still sounds good though.
So where I got the counterattack idea was the Dreadful Doomscapes, and I use it against you guys when we did the subway thing, and if you remember correctly, one of you hit me and I instantly hit you back.
Mm-hmm.
It's very calm. What?
I thought it was just narrative the way that happened. I didn't know it was
No,
controlled.
there's actually an ability. Yeah, it's a counter. So triggering a counterattack happens whenever the creature is attacked, not when it is successfully hit. So it's any attack, even if the character that fails their attack can trigger. The thing with the counterattack is it can't crit, and it can't be used for it's literally just like a quick, swift like kick or knee or punch, kind of like as part of the engagement. So it has its limitations, but it's something that would be kind of a cool predator ability. I don't know if we want to talk about that a little bit more, change it or whatever, but it's something that I thought about would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that.
But it also has to make sense. Like you're not counterattacking the archer unless you're catching the arrow and throwing it back. But
You could have two reflect projectiles and then one counterattack melees.
Oh, ooh.
Consider two for melee.
I do want to give you a 15-minute warning.
Yep.
Because I do have to pick up my daughter, and I believe Michelle's meeting with you too. So
Yes, we're gonna talk books.
She's looking forward to it.
Woo. It's gonna be a long phone call.
She was so excited.
Was you?
yesterday. Oh, yeah.
Good. I'll put her to work, which means I will also be put to work. So
I know you're gonna be busy too. I know.
right.
Man, I want to play this. This is the way this is forming out. I like this a lot. Now, what about some kind of stench ability? Like you know how a skunk sprays? Is there any kind of like there's not a so this is me processing out loud, so be patient with me. Some kind of like dazzled condition but there isn't any of those kind of conditions, right?
If
And
I
that
remember
could be-
right,
Go ahead.
EZD6 this is the same thing. Like this just miraculous saves, right?
Yeah.
Also,
So-
looks like my stream dipped for just half a second there again.
Oh, I don't see it.
Well,
I'm not really
Windows
watching it.
came up and said OBS is losing connection. OBS connected, so it's in the green.
Oh, weird. Are you in Mega Man yet?
No,
Oh,
I don't think there's. Well, there might be Mega Man Legends or whatever it was on here. That was
Yeah.
a 64 game.
yeah, It's the Mega Man 64.
Oh, is that what we're on?
Well, at least I am. I think it's about to end, so you might already be in the pilot wings.
I am in Pilot Wings. Yep.
I got a commercial.
Oh, I don't get those.
I know, you special. I think it might be what's messing me up too. All right, you got. So how would we? Well, I guess skunk could fit under the intimidate, right? Forces enemies near you to roll with one bane.
Yeah, especially if it's all enemies. Yeah, you just dust cloud. That's something you could flavor.
That's the reflavor. I'm processing through like different ideas here. Because that's kind of great.
Well, no, hey, huh? Never mind. That'd be the same thing. I'm sorry. I was thinking something that just makes them struggle to attack you, but that's exactly what intimidate does. I was thinking intimidate made them go away. But
I was feeling, what about some kind of ranged thing, like the spit and cobra?
Crack shot. You can reflect a shot off of one bad guy to another.
Oh my gosh, that seems really powerful though.
That's basically just attacking twice.
Yeah.
Or what? Crits, you're.
That's yeah. So we're on the same page.
On a crit, your projectile reflects off everybody in the same range band. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah. That would be cool for a sling, like somebody a sling like a rock. Dunk, 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 dunk. Like, see some of it though, like that's kind of fun role play or like.
And you got exploding crits, so you could just say, "Oh yeah, it bounces off."
Yeah. So what are some predator? Let's see, the coyote, we got like sharp teeth to do more damage, the howl, speed, but we're already covering a lot of that. I feel like we're lacking in the brainstorming range right now in this.
Well, and there might not be very many predator abilities to choose from because these are all specifically combat. And some inclinations already do that, so.
That's true. Because we have one for defense, right? We have two for defense because you have the +1 temp strike, and then the boon of defense rolls or +1 armor rating, depending on how we want to do that.
I almost feel like taunt should be the shield guys thing.
Yeah, the shield bearer.
Yeah, because I don't know why Predator would want to trigger that constantly for winning that round. Like maybe I don't want to get hit this round.
Well, they could have the choice to not do it.
Yeah,
right. Because these are abilities you have a choice to activate, right?
That's true. Plus, you're also getting to go first. So. If you don't use your ability, it's not the end of the world. You're still getting something.
Correct. So I think it works out.
Yep.
Of course, we'll have to play it to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
What other predator abilities?
Well, I was thinking about maybe getting karma out of something, kind of like the HP for killing something off, but I'm almost thinking that might be a harvester ability. Like, hey, every time a bad guy goes down in combat, you get +1 karma. That might be too much, though.
I'm having like a brain fart because like there's
what about restraining?
I just literally about to say grappling. So
yeah.
So we're obviously on the thought there.
That might be a better intimidate thing. It's like you just lock one guy.
Lock one guy down, whether it's through a growl or through a grapple. It doesn't have to be a grapple. But
that might be. Would you freeze a snake with fear if you manage to win that roll? A little mouse stands up.
Why not? I mean, I've seen prey animals. I used to run a hunting dog, and I've seen prey animals. If they turn and hold their ground for a second, the dog will stop, for a second to regroup. So I mean, it actually. I mean, if you're talking 6-second rounds, I mean that actually does fit.
Yeah. So This would be Intimidate version 2.0. Intimidate
Well-
2.0 locks enemy of your choice in place.
Either through grapple or just through pure glare.
That also might get kind of abused too if you...
If everybody takes it.
Well, yeah, if everybody took it, but even if you just had one person with it and you're going against one hard creature and you won... It would be very unsatisfying if you won the Predator round every time and then the Predator never got to make a move. And you just beat him like 3 or 4 rounds in a row.
This is where you and I need to talk about predators too.
Well, just enemies in general, or...
Yeah, because I have a whole list of ideas with those when we get to that. I'm not opening that Pandora's box right now.
Well, I'm imagining, small trash mobs you can go through, like other mice, other creatures of your similar size, and then the more scarier ones, like snakes and stuff.
Locks enemy in place just means they don't get to move. Doesn't mean they don't get to strike.
Well, that's what I was thinking, like they didn't even get to do anything. So we're just saying they can't move, or...
I mean, when you grapple, depending on the system, when you grapple somebody, that doesn't mean they can't bite, kick, or knee you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's just they can't move. But is that too weak now, right? Got him.
Put a question mark on it.
Yeah. Because you're absolutely right. If we're fighting a single foe, that's some bullpucky.
Yep. And this is one thing I had a big fuss about 5e is like it did not let you make one big monster. Like the solution was like, oh, minions, put minions in there, put minions. So many people suggest it's like you gotta have minions, you gotta have trash mobs. It's like, why does the big scary dragon have minions? Like, why does he have to? I want a big scary fight with one monster. 5e just wouldn't do it. So I'm a big fan of a party facing down a large creature without having to balance it with minions.
I agree with you 100%. So I do think that we need to figure out what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think we need to keep... I still love the one Bane within close range. Like that fits the whole like stench, growl, whatever you want to flavor it as, right?
Play says, what? D&D has encounter balance? No.
We don't do that.
It's just a little busted.
Can I tell you a secret?
What?
On our last stream, I did not track HP very much.
Oh, I didn't figure you did.
I went off what seemed right in the moment.
Yeah,
that's how I run my 5th edition.
I imagine that would have been a very different situation if it had been run by the actual rules. And I realized post stream, I was like, I could have used Second Wind and not died.
Oh, you could have.
Yeah.
Yes. It is what it is. But that's how I run my 5th edition now, man. Nobody has HP. I can't, because you sit there for an hour and all you're trying to do is hack down each other's HP. That's all you're doing. There is no like store. Sorry, I'll stop.
I was saying my second campaign, for bosses, I didn't track it at all. It's just like, how many hits? What sounds good?
Right, and how does it feel? Like, how does the party feel like they've been doing in a way?
Yeah.
Like,
so what I did. Actually, I don't have time to explain. I did do away with HP for the whole thing, but it was just a measurement of hits. But I did have a system in place, like, are you using a heavy weapon? Are you sneak attacks? But it was I boiled it all down just to strikes, basically, where you could do multiple strikes in one go. So
you can divide their health by 10, and that makes a great strike ratio.
Yep.
I've even done it more than that, but we won't get into it. Sorry.
I think we're going to leave this here.
I think you and I should brainstorm a little bit more on it and see if we can come up with some other unique ideas to have.
Yes, but it's also coming up on your go time, so that's why I was wrapping it out. But we do I think we could squeeze in a couple more predator abilities, but I don't think we'll need much more than that. Well, I'm kind of leaning towards you just pick one predator ability. So we won't need a big, large list.
But there are some specializations that get predator abilities.
Maybe. That's the next thing we got to figure out. Like, does each specialization get one? Does each job get one instead of each specialization? Or and it might not be. We could make lighter predator abilities for the jobs that they automatically get, and then these ones that you pick could be stronger. So it's like, oh, it's just this little thing, or you get when you have this job and win the predator thing, or maybe not at all. This may be completely up to the player to pick, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards now that I see how hard it is to come up with some.
Yep.
Because if we just do jobs, each get one, we're automatically taking 5.
That's exactly what.
Yeah. So that's and this is another way for you to just put your touch on it, your personal touch, instead of relying on the job and specialization to do everything for you.
Especially if we're gonna lower inclinations to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what, man, you're right. I'm glad we talked. This was a great talk. Thank you.
All right, so that's next week. What are we doing next week?
Well, let's next week
play test. All right, let's go.
Okay, there it is. So I guess the discussion is by next week, do we want to have a bunch of this stuff cleaned up and written, and we just like work on renaming all of the inclinations, and we work on organizing what we have? Because so at this point we have 4 weeks of a lot of information that I feel like is kind of all over the place.
We've done the easy part of just throwing stuff on the wall and everything spiderwebbing out, and now we have to start connecting dots, and that's where it gets difficult.
I guess that's where I'm saying the same thing. I'm agreeing with you in that sense. So I think next stream is going to be a little bit more of like organization and almost going back from the beginning and saying what we're sticking with and connecting the dots, right?
And this is why I started making the Word document, because like, okay, we're getting past the whiteboard phase. It's time to start, not finalizing, but actually making a structure here. So,
which I mean, we're right on the cusp of something really cool.
Yeah, I'm liking where it's headed.
So next goal, I think, is like an organizational stream of, like you said, or like I was saying, go back to the beginning, go over the species we have, and just like light touch everything. And that might just spark into whole conversations of like, well, what do we do with the otter exactly? And then while we're doing it though, maybe even building a character or two, just to kind of show how it feels. And then maybe our 6th week, we run a little mini play test with what we have.
You can dig it.
6th or 7th.
Depending on how video editing goes this week and everything, I'm gonna try and get in the doc and really start dumping stuff in there.
I mean, we could talk about this off stream too, but maybe you and I need to make a little special meeting to just like crank stuff out.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I was say we don't have to do everything on stream. We we can
recap it on stream if we need to.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, because we are going to be getting to the boring part pretty soon.
At some point we could switch, and this depends on mine and your availability. We could switch these streams to more lore talk. I don't know if you want to share that yet with anybody. And then do like little updates of what we got going on if it's boring. I don't know. Well, we could just, you know what? You and I can discuss it off stream. I really appreciate all the people who joined us today. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, man. Close that on some Zelda music. It's pretty classic. So next week, same time, same place, and there will also be a video next week. I'm gonna go over some mechanics that I enjoyed. Try and do the YouTube thing of top 5 mechanics, or just see how that goes. But I hate it. We'll see how it works though. So I can stop flatlining.
I appreciate all that you do.
Thank you.
Hey, anybody who's watching this, share this with your friends because we want people to see what we're doing.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Blaze. All right. I'm gonna close it out. So say bye, YouTube. You didn't say bye, YouTube.